gentlemen, this mosque is not teaching you the truth about the Quran. They're not telling you the truth. Yeah, they don't follow the Quran. Ladies and gentlemen, this mosque is not teaching the truth about the Quran. They're not. The mosques nowadays are not teaching the truth. They don't follow the Quran. They follow man-made traditions. This is spoken about in the Quran. God says that Muhammad on Judgment Day, he'll say his people abandon the Quran.
Brother, how are you?
Hello, peace be upon you. Wa alaikum salam.
Where are you from? What's your nationality, bro?
Background is Pakistani, but I'm born.
Are you Muslim or you're not Muslim?
I am Muslim. I follow the Quran, absolutely.
Are you Sunni or Shia?
I don't believe in any of that. If you read the Quran, God says that we are not supposed to divide our deen into sects. But I am a Quran alone Muslim. I reject the Hadith. The Hadith is the single biggest problem in Islam right now. These mosques are not telling you the truth about the Quran. Good, how are you doing?
This is part of the masjid. That is not. So you can stand out here. Then you're free to go.
Stand on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
All right.
Sidewalk is fine, but just not on the masjid property.
They're not telling you the truth about the Quran. They're not. These people don't follow the Quran in here. They do shirk in this mosque. They do shirk. And for all of my English viewers, those who don't speak Arabic, shirk just means associating a partnership with God. And that's a fact. These people, they get on their knees, they praise Muhammad, they shower blessings upon him, even though he doesn't even hear it. They greet him in their prayers. They bow towards a stone idol. This is an idolatrous place. It's the biggest mosque in the city. At least the biggest one I know of. Yo, gentlemen, this mosque is not teaching you the truth about the Quran. They don't follow the Quran in there. Gentlemen, this mosque is not teaching you the truth about the Quran. They don't follow the Quran in there. They don't. If you read the Quran, God says that Muhammad on Judgment Day will say his people abandon the Quran. They don't follow the Quran in this mosque. Gentlemen, they're not following the mosque in this Quran. They're not following the Quran in this mosque. They're not following it. They're following man-made traditions. They do shirk in this mosque. That's the truth. Gentlemen, they're not teaching the truth about the Quran in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran here. They follow something else. They follow man-made traditions. They do shirk in this mosque. Yeah, they don't follow the Quran in this mosque. They don't. Gentlemen, they don't follow the Quran in this mosque.
Huh?
They don't follow the Quran in this mosque. They follow man-made traditions. They do shirk in this mosque. What was that? You don't care about the truth? I'm talking to you about the Quran. Have some respect for God and the Quran. Do you believe in the Quran? I'm talking about the Quran right now. I can't even hear you. It's the truth. It's the truth in the Quran. Read the Quran. Everything they do is against what God said. See, that's what you get with these Arab and sometimes Pakistani youth, so-called Muslim, Hadithan background. They're just all urbanized and aggressive. They're degenerating as well. If this religion is supposed to be from God, why was it not able to protect its followers and its kids and grandchildren? Look at how quickly they become secularized. And they don't care. They just want to smoke weed and go to the bars and pick fights with people. They're just untempered savages. Gentlemen, this mosque does not teach the truth about the Quran. They're not telling the truth. They do shirk in this mosque. The hadith, we are not supposed to follow the hadith. We have to follow the Quran alone. It's the truth. Don't walk away. They don't follow the Quran in this mosque, my friend. They're not following the Quran in this mosque. They do shirk in this mosque. My friend, they're not following the truth in this mosque. They don't teach the Quran in here. They follow man-made traditions. They're not teaching the truth in this mosque, my friend. They follow the man-made traditions. They're not following the Quran. It's the truth. Don't laugh at it. The Quran talks about how messengers were mocked for preaching the truth. They don't preach the truth here. Gentlemen, they're not teaching you the truth in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran. They don't follow the Quran in this mosque. They follow man-made traditions. Gentlemen, they're not teaching you the truth in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran in here. They follow man-made traditions. This is not a house of God. It's the truth. Sir, they don't follow the Quran in this mosque. They follow man-made traditions. They don't teach true Islam. This is the truth. Don't walk away from the truth. We all face God on Judgment Day. Sir, they're not telling you the truth in this mosque. Gentlemen, they're not teaching you the truth in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran, they follow man-made traditions. It's the truth, they don't follow the Quran in here. This is not Islam. Sir, they don't follow the Quran in this mosque. They don't teach true Islam here. They follow man-made traditions. Allah predicted this in the Quran that people would do that. They don't follow the Quran in this mosque, my friend. They don't teach true Islam. See, I wish I could get closer to the mosque, but this mosque is kind of like barricaded off. And normally what people do is when they can't refute you with their arguments, they'll just kick you off their property. So I have to find public property that's adjacent to do my preaching. They don't teach the Quran in this mosque. They don't follow the truth. So So I always have to find public property that's adjacent, but it's a shame that they've guarded everything off here. Gentlemen, this mosque is not teaching the Quran. They don't teach true Islam. They're not telling you true Islam in this mosque, my friends. They're teaching you man-made traditions. God even talks about this in the Quran. Yeah. So if you read in the Quran, God says that Muhammad on Judgment Day, he's going to say, my people have abandoned the Quran. What have they abandoned it for? They've abandoned it for man-made traditions. That's a hadith and all these scholars that have come later on. The hadith has no part in Islam at all. And also these people, they don't tell you the true nature of the earth, what God says in the Quran about the earth. According to the Quran, I can show you all the verses within it as well. God teaches that the earth is flat and stationary. They teach the earth as a globe. Dr. Zakir Naik, all these guys, they teach the earth as a globe, when really this is one of the biggest lies of the modern world. According to the Quran, the earth is flat and stationary. Yes. There's so many lies we've been taught. I grew up in this type of mosque. I'm Pakistani. I grew up in a Sunni home. Eventually, when I read the Quran for the first time in my own language. Of course I'm Muslim. I believe in the Quran. I live and die for the Quran, my friend.
You said Sunni?
No, I don't believe. If you read the Quran, God says that it's haram. We're not allowed to divide the deen into sects. So saying I'm a Sunni, I'm a this, I'm a that, that's not proper. Okay? So if you read the Quran, you know, God has predicted this from the beginning. He even says that if you follow the majority of people, you'll be led astray. This is a big religion. This is a big majority, but they do shirk in this mosque, I tell you. They do shirk. So,
go to the school and print this mosque every day.
What was that?
Go to the school and print this mosque every day.
They're not telling you the truth. Okay?
What was that?
Well, firstly, what they do is, you know the phrase, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Rahman Rahim, and then if you get on your knees, one thing they tell you to do is to greet Muhammad and praise Muhammad on your knees. You know, you don't say Muhammad Rasulullah, you say that on your knees, right? When you get there, yeah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Yeah, but why are we praising Muhammad? Why are we sending blessings on Muhammad? He can't hear us. He's returned back to God. Another thing they do, if you look at what they do in Makkah, the whole ritual where they spin around and this whole ritual, none of it comes from the Quran at all. None of it at all. This whole idea of bowing down towards a stone box, this is idolatry. This is shirk. If you let's put it this way. Let's say you had you know, people there circling around this box, but instead, let's say we take this box and we replace it with a statue of Jesus. Anybody would say it's shirk, but when we take Jesus out and put the box back in, we say this is Islam. This has nothing to do with Islam.
Well, doesn't it say we have to do Hajj?
No, there is a Hajj. There was an original pilgrimage performed by the early believers, but what they do, I don't even believe it was in Mecca, but even if we accept that, what they do now in Mecca has nothing to do with that at all. They have nothing to do with that. Yeah. Even if you look, another big fraud that we're told was the whole COVID-19 thing. That fraud, where they shut down the whole world based on a lie. All this stuff was planned from the beginning. You look at the mosques, they fell for it. You look, I have photos in my book I can show you right now where they have social distanced Hajj. They all fell for this fraud. They fell for this trap.
You said the earth is flat?
The earth is flat, man. You want me to, I can pull up the Quran verses for you if you want to hear them.
Yeah, can we see them?
Yeah, my pleasure, brother. I wrote a 1,000-page book dealing with this very subject on the nature of the earth. So I talk about the science, the physics, what the Bible says, what the Quran says, the history, outer space. I go through all of it. My big issue with the mosque is they follow the hadith. The hadith has no place in Islam. Okay, so firstly we'll deal with the nature of the sky. So what we're taught by NASA in the modern world, we're taught that there's outer space, right? You keep going high enough and eventually you reach this place called outer space, empty. According to the Quran, the sky is a solid structure. There's a hard roof over the flat earth. And I'll show you multiple verses so you can read in, let's see, we'll just start here. So God says, you know, regarding the heavens. So chapter 52, verse 9, in the name of God, the Almighty and the Merciful. The day the heaven shakes, reeling. So he treats of the sky as a physical object, like a roof. Chapter 25, verse 25. And the day the sky is ripped down with the clouds, and the angels are sent down in successive descent. Chapter 34, verse 9. Do they then not see what is before them, and what following them of the heaven and the earth? If we will, we can make the earth swallow them, or cause to fall upon them pieces of the sky. This is very clear. Chapter 55, verse 37. And when the sky is rent asunder, when it's ripped down. No, they're talking to me. I'm having a conversation right now. So you see, God teaches that the earth, or that the sky is something solid. There's a roof over the earth. God even calls the earth a container of the living and dead in the Quran. Let's talk. See the nature of the earth and its flatness. Walaikum salam. How are you?
What are you doing today?
I'm preaching the truth. This mosque does not teach true Islam, my friend. They don't
What's
teach
your
true.
opinion? I need you to do.
Well, I'm explaining to these people right now one thing that the mosques teach, which has nothing to do with the Quran. They teach, or they don't understand.
You gotta teach us something. You gotta go do it somewhere else.
Well, I was told I'm allowed to be on public property.
This isn't public property.
Okay, I'll move like 2 steps over and I'll be on public property.
Yeah, and then everybody else is married.
No. This is the shaitan right now. You're hearing the truth. This is listen, my friend. This is what happened. This is what happened to the messengers as well. People said, "Oh, don't listen to them." I'm telling you the truth. Don't walk away. Don't walk away. You'll be held accountable before God on Judgment Day. Do not listen to him. I'm telling you the truth. I was reading you the Quran. Don't listen to him, okay? If you want, come back to me after. No problem.
Go, guys, go. Just ignore him. Don't bother the people, okay?
I'm preaching the truth.
Go preach somewhere else.
All the messengers, they were mocked since the beginning.
I got the cops on the way.
You got the cops on the way. Oh, okay.
Ignore him.
I'm telling you the truth. This mosque does not teach the Quran. They don't teach true Islam here.
Teach us somewhere else.
They don't teach true Islam. They don't teach true Islam here. My friend, they don't teach the Quran in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran in this mosque. They don't teach true Islam. What was that? I can show you all the verses in the Quran. I can show you the verses in the Quran. They're not teaching you the truth in these mosques. They're not teaching the Quran. They don't follow true Islam. See, no dealing with your arguments, just bullying and intimidating. They don't teach the truth in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran in here. They don't teach true Islam, my friend. They've abandoned the Quran. God even says Muhammad will say on Judgment Day, my people have abandoned the Quran. They don't teach the true Islam here. They don't teach the Quran, my friend. It's the truth. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque, my friend. They don't teach the Quran. They're not teaching true Islam in this mosque. They're not. They don't follow the Quran. They follow the traditions of men. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque, my friend. They don't follow the Quran. They follow man-made traditions. If you read the Quran, God says that Muhammad on Judgment Day, he'll say his people abandoned the Quran. They abandoned it for man-made traditions. I'm telling you the truth right now. These mosques, they don't preach the Quran. They don't teach true Islam. Nobody's willing to actually deal with my arguments. And I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm just telling the truth. It's the truth. Don't walk away from the truth. God has revealed it in the Quran. These people don't follow the Quran. They don't follow the Quran in there. They don't teach true Islam. They don't teach the Quran in Islam, my friend. They don't teach true Islam. They're not telling you the truth in this mosque. They don't teach Islam. They don't teach the what the Quran says. They've abandoned the Quran. They're not teaching true Islam. They're not teaching the Quran. You see, this is what happens. Anytime someone preaches the truth, God talks about in the Quran that there are people who always oppose. They cause difficulty from men preaching the truth. That's what you're doing. You're going to face God on Judgment Day, one in the gray sweater. You're going to face God. They don't teach Islam in this mosque. They don't teach the Quran. They've abandoned the Quran for man-made traditions. I can show you all the verses in the Quran to prove it. Is anybody interested in the Quran? That's the question. Is anyone interested in the Quran anymore? They don't teach Islam in this mosque. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque. They've abandoned the Quran, my friend. I'll be with you guys in a moment, okay? I'll tell you what I was telling you.
Guys, just go that way.
Yeah, I'll meet you guys. I'll meet you guys. Don't worry about it. They don't teach true Islam in the mosque. They've abandoned the Quran in here.
What's your mosque?
I don't have. I don't have. I'll tell you, I'm trying to build one up that actually follows God alone. But it takes time, of course. It takes money. It takes effort. I want to build up a true mosque that doesn't follow the hadith, but follows the Quran alone. Well, no, I'm not allowed on mosque property. Well, no, you gotta maybe. Yeah, maybe come. I'm happy to talk to you. Just come around. He's just gonna. Yeah, like they're gonna call the cops on me. So okay, good for you. You realize what you're doing, right? You're standing in front of a man speaking the truth. You'll face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Judgment Day. I'm telling you the truth. Listen, man, these mosques don't follow the Quran. They don't teach these mosques. They do shirk in these mosques. Yeah. I can show you all the verses if you want to see. I can present all my evidence in the Quran. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque, my friend. They're not teaching it. They've abandoned the Quran. God predicts this in the Quran as well. God says in the Quran that Muhammad on Judgment Day, he'll say that my people have abandoned the Quran. And this is exactly what he's talking about. These Sunni, these Shia, that they've abandoned. They've abandoned. They don't teach true Islam in here. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque. They've abandoned the Quran. God predicts this in the Quran. He says that Muhammad on Judgment Day, he'll say, my people have abandoned the Quran. This is exactly what he's talking about. This. What was that? No, not the birthday thing, but the whole doctrine, the whole thing that's taught here. My two main concerns with the mosque are, firstly, they preach out of the hadith. The hadith has nothing to do with Islam. I wrote a book. It's available for free online. You can read it. There's no... the only way to follow the Quran is to follow it alone.
And your spewing is pure batil.
No, and secondly, they don't understand... They don't understand the true nature of the earth. According to the Quran, the earth is flat and stationary. There's no globe. I can show you all the verses if you want to see them. They're not telling you the truth in this mosque. They're not preaching true Islam, my friend. They've abandoned the Quran for hadith. The hadith has no place in Islam. No place. God says the Quran is complete and clear, that He left not one detail out of it. They're not telling you the truth of these mosques, ladies and gentlemen. They're not teaching true Islam. they're not teaching true Islam in this mosque. They don't teach the Quran, they've abandoned it. God talks about it in the Quran. Gentlemen, they're not teaching true Islam in this mosque. They're not. They've abandoned the Quran. God predicts this in the Quran, that people would abandon. They're not teaching true Islam in this mosque. They've abandoned it they've abandoned the Quran for man-made traditions. God talks about this in the Quran as well. See, he's just trying to shy you. He's a shaitan, trying to shy you away from the truth. I'm telling you the truth. You are a shaitan. You are a shaitan. Anybody who opposes the truth is a shaitan. You are a shaitan. Or at least you're definitely influenced by them. No. No. This hadith has nothing to do with Islam. You follow the hadith?
You are not calling me a shaitan.
I will, yeah. You are a shaitan.
You're a shaitan.
Okay. We'll see. God will reveal the truth on Judgment Day. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque. They're not preaching the truth.
See the shaitan. Anybody wants to see the shaitan?
And messengers were mocked.
I'm gonna call you shaitan.
Messengers were mocked before. This is nothing new. You're already proving that messengers are mocked. The messengers were mocked since the beginning for preaching the truth.
You're supposed to say that.
I am saying the truth. I'm standing upon the Quran. Everything I'm saying I can show using the Quran. 100%.
What you're telling me is what you're doing is wrong.
Can you show me the Quran verse?
You are wrong.
Okay, can you present
You are wrong.
present to me the Quranic evidence that I am wrong? They don't teach true Islam in this mosque, my friend. They don't teach the Quran. They've abandoned it for man-made traditions. They've abandoned the Quran for the hadith. The hadith has nothing to do with Islam. Nothing to do with Deen Allah. It's the truth, my friend. Don't let him take you away from the truth. I can show you all my evidence from the Quran. That's what I'm working towards. But God also says for us to boldly speak out against the truth. What does the Quran say? Fear not the reproach of a critic. I'm not afraid. I'm going to stand up and speak the truth. I can show you. Want to see the verse? They're not teaching true Islam in these mosques. They've abandoned the Quran. God has predicted this in the Quran from the beginning that this would happen. God says if you follow the majority of people, you will be led astray. That's what God says in the Quran. They're not telling you Islam in here. They're telling you shirk in this mosque. What's the time? They're not telling you true Islam in this mosque. They're not preaching the Quran. They've abandoned it for man-made traditions. They're not preaching true Islam in this mosque, my friend. They've abandoned it for man-made traditions. God has predicted this in the Quran. Don't blindly follow. Follow the truth, what God has said. I'll show you. I'll demonstrate my evidence with the Quran. friend, they're not preaching true Islam in this mosque. They've abandoned the Quran for man-made traditions. God has predicted this since the beginning. Don't blindly follow. We all face God on Judgment Day. We are held accountable for what we believe. I'm going to show you the truth with the Quran. The Hadith has nothing to do with Islam. It's not Deen Allah. They're not telling you the truth of Islam. They don't know. This mosque. They don't teach true Islam. They've abandoned the Quran. The main thing that they've abandoned the Quran for is Hadith. And Hadith has nothing to do with Islam at all. It has nothing to do with Islam.
No, this is a more imperative part of the Islam.
If you read the Quran, God makes it very clear that that the Quran is complete and clear. There's no,
But
like
you
God
can,
says,
but you cannot understand the Quran without hadith.
God says that He explains it and the Quran is clear.
How you will pray?
Well, this is what you do. Well,
How you will pray?
Well, there's many.
Hadith only says how to pray.
Well,
How
no,
many pray?
I'll tell you.
Hadith says how
Well,
many pray. Right?
firstly, I have to ask you: is the Quran incomplete then? Is the Quran incomplete? You remember Allah's holy word. If you suggest that it's missing details, that's a serious crime.
I know the Quran is complete. Quran is complete.
No, you don't believe it's complete.
You cannot understand without hadith.
No. You just
Pay zakah. Pay zakah. How you will pay the zakah?
You just said.
How you will pay the zakah?
You just asked me. Oh well, the Quran doesn't tell us how to do the prayer. How many prayers? You don't believe the Quran is complete. You've blasphemed the holy words. Yeah. God says the Quran is complete and clear. There's no need for this hadith stuff at all. He says not one thing He's left out of the Quran. I wrote it. You can read. I show all the verses. I have a free book available online. You can read it if you want. Do you want the link to it? This hadith stuff, I'm telling you, brother, it has nothing to do with Islam. It's the big problem. God even says in the Quran, in what hadith after this will you believe? After the Quran. They say here we have another hadith. We have Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. This has nothing to do with Deen Allah. Nothing. If you say we need hadith in Bukhari, you're basically saying Quran is incomplete. Allah left out details that we need. No. Allah made the law very clear and complete for us.
Did you pray already?
No, I'm not going to pray there. They do shirk in this mosque.
Why?
Because they don't follow the Quran with their prayer. They get on their knees and they send blessings to Muhammad. What is this all about? Muhammad can't hear. Muhammad is returned back to God. He did his mission and he's back. There's no, well, why are we getting on our knees and praising Muhammad?
Did you pray Jummah? Did you pray already? Come on.
I pray all the time.
Did you pray today? Come on.
I did pray. I pray.
Where?
I pray. God says remember Him. We're supposed to remember Him all the time.
Yeah, you can go and then talk to the Imam because...
I did actually.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I did, and he walked away. I was gently...
Which Imam?
I can't remember his name. He's an Arab guy. I was talking to him, and I was showing him all my evidence from the Quran. He walked away from the conversation. These people they can't deal with my arguments. I asked him, show me where in the Quran where we have to follow this hadith. They can't show it.
Oh, okay.
Nothing to do with Islam. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck with that, buddy.
There's no luck. God protects me.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque, my friend. They don't. They don't teach true Islam in this mosque. They don't follow the Quran here. They've abandoned it for man-made traditions.
What do you mean?
So, firstly, big problem is they've abandoned the Quran for hadith. If you read the Quran, it's very, very crystal clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the Quran is complete. It is clear and He left nothing out of it. It is a clear, comprehensive law. So then when these people, they come in, and it's actually, God even says in the Quran, it's haram to make haram what Allah has not made haram. Right? If I say, for example, wearing brown is haram, that's bad on me. I cannot make haram, right?
Haram is with Allah. If somebody
Right. But then the hadith has so many things they make haram, which Allah has not made haram in the Quran. So they say, for example, men wearing gold is haram. They'll say all kinds of things, right? This is a crime. God even says that there will be people in Jahannam. They'll be in the fire, and their crime will be, I made haram what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make haram. That's one thing. Yes, that is shirk. And I'll tell you, this hadith has nothing to do with Deen Allah. I can show you all the verses in the Quran where God says it's complete and clear. To think that Allah left out part of the law, that God left out part of the law, and that we need to explain this and have extra rules in the hadith, you basically said the Quran is incomplete and we need all this extra stuff. Yeah. I'll show you the verses.
Quran and hadith. So what is hadith?
Well, according to the Quran, according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran is the best hadith. God even says in the Quran, in what hadith after this will you believe? The Quran he's talking about. We're not supposed to believe in any other hadith outside of the Quran. The Quran is the best narration or story.
So what is Atiur Rasul?
Say in English.
So what is Atiur Rasul?
Atiur Rasul.
Follow the Rasul.
Well, God says, God gives us many examples of many messengers in the Quran. We have their example in the Quran. We have Jesus, we have Moses. Follow the messenger.
Follow the messenger. What is follow the messenger?
Well, the messenger, God says to follow the example of the messenger.
Atiur Rasul.
Right. Follow God and follow the messenger. Right. The messenger, their example is.
How we are going to follow the messenger?
The example is in the Quran of the messenger.
How we are going to Atiullah.
Follow God and follow the messenger. Right? So does not in the Quran God talk about messengers? Right? He talks about Muhammad and Jesus and Moses, right? So is there examples in the Quran? Follow the Quran. Listen, is it not strange, do you think, that according to most people we need the hadith as part of Islam? We need Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, they explain things. Our deen would not be complete without it. Is it not strange that nowhere in the Quran God never mentions Bukhari, He never mentions Muslim, He never mentions Isnad, He never mentions chain of narration, nothing like that at all? Is it not strange that Allah would leave that detail out? And God mentions other books. God mentions the Injil, God mentions the Torah. God is not shy to mention other authoritative scriptures, but He doesn't mention the Hadith. There's never even
God come for every each and everything on your life and guide you.
Say that again.
God will come and guide you with your finger and show you how to pray, how to do wudu, how to deal with people, how to do all the stuff. Is it God was gonna guide you?
Well, God tells us to use our reason.
Then why God needs the messenger?
No.
The messenger's life is like example like we have like guidance from like we have guidance in the messenger. I will not.
It says in the Quran it says God who guides.
I will not do it. Don't we have like messenger life and the guidance for us?
Well, the messengers, they were an example for us. Yeah.
So what Sahaba did after Prophet death? What did it? So that, what happened when what we're gonna do this now? Like let's say Umar, the second caliph, he was going to a place where plague was. So the one messenger from that place where the plague is, he came and he said, "Don't come here, Caliph. You have a disease here." Yeah, it's okay. I'm okay to report.
Yeah. I'm just making sure it's getting me too, obviously, because I put this on my and to protect me.
And that was a problem. Like messenger, well, the caliph was there. He wanted to go enter into the city. The city was plagued. Then one of the companions of Prophet said, "This is the Prophet saying, don't enter into a place where there is disease, or don't leave the place where it is disease." And they said, "Alhamdulillah, we got a witness from one guy, and somebody witnessed that." Okay, so that was the peace. So we wrote in a book. After 200 years, some wise people wrote it in a book.
This stuff
the Prophet, whatever he said.
This stuff was passed down for generation orally. There's no. The only proof that we can have to actually see if Muhammad said these things or not is if he was alive and I could ask him, "Hey, did you say these things?" And he can say yes or no. We have no proof. Especially.
Should we abandon the Islam after that? Should we abandon the Prophet after that?
Islam is in the Quran. Islam is in the Quran.
Should we abandon the Prophet?
I've not abandoned the Prophet. What I'm doing.
So whatever he's saying.
What I'm doing
is the ruling. It's his tongue who said the Quran and who said the Hadith.
The messenger's job was only
one time. God said, "This is Quran and this is my saying."
No. If you look in the Quran, the word Sunnah never appears with Muhammad. It's only Sunnatullah, which never changes. The Sunnah of Allah. The word Sunnah never appears with Muhammad at all. And
how you will justify it?
To follow the messenger, I mean, we have multiple examples of multiple messengers in the Quran. Follow their example. They do many things. You're acting like the Quran doesn't say anything about any messengers. It says a lot about Moses and Jesus. And it says it about Abraham too. Follow the messenger, follow the messenger. It just means The book that they brought, the kitab they brought, follow that. That's following the messenger. Not what other people said about the messenger hundreds of years later. Quran, or Moses brought the Torah, the Injil,
not Injil, not Torah, not
well, those were
book.
previous prophets.
Because
who
this
brought.
book is the seal of everything, and this prophet was the seal of everything.
Yeah,
So nothing after.
yeah, yeah.
Huh?
He's the end of book.
End of seal of prophet.
Correct.
Prophet of or Nabuwat or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. He's the final prophet.
He's a final prophet.
course.
Nobody can claim prophet is not.
No way.
So his saying is an authentic thing. Whatever he said this is Quran, this is I'm saying, do this. Do jihad, do this, stop jihad, do the Sulh
But
Hudaybiyah.
these aren't his
whatever
sayings.
he's saying.
These are what people said about
He said
him.
we are gonna do a pact on a Hudaybiyah.
If you
Everybody was willing to fight.
if you look, the Sunnis, they have their own hadith which say is authentic.
I'm not advocate of Sunni.
No, no,
I'm
if-
not advocate of Al-Hadith.
If you look at, I'm just giving you an example of the confusion. You look at Sunnis, they'll say we have these hadith, this is authentic. You look
Yeah,
at you
follow them.
look at Shia.
Follow Islam.
You look at Shia. You look
Follow
at Shia.
Islam.
They'll look at the Sunnis hadith and say yours is not authentic. This hadith is the biggest confusion in Islam.
So, okay.
Allah never. There's only one sunnah. It's sunnat
If
Allah.
you have a problem with the medicine because you overtook or you underdose, will you blame the medicine? So if you are, let's say, I'm a blood pressure guy, and if I'm not taking it much, I'm just taking it a little, or maybe I'm taking it more. What is going to happen to me?
No, but
The use is bad,
I can see.
but you cannot blame
I can see all kinds of corrupt narrations, even in Sahih Bukhari, Sahih
one
Muslim.
one day,
All kinds of, and they contradict the
one
Quran.
day people will be
bring my
divided
jacket?
on Quran. Will you abandon the Quran?
Can you bring
Oh.
my jacket?
Then what you are saying?
I'm holding to the Quran.
Yes,
My
no, I'm just
jacket.
giving you an example.
I'm
I'm not
trying to,
blaming you.
I'm trying to talk to people and tell them, let's follow the Quran and abandon all this man-made stuff. The hadith has nothing to do with Muhammad. It was hundreds of years later, hearsay which people wrote down after he was dead. We cannot. Listen, it's like this, okay? Let's say you were to die right now, and then people 200 years after your death were to write down the sayings of you. There's no way we can prove it. The only way I can prove is if you're alive and I ask you, did you say this or not? And even we have in the Quran, there's a verse where Allah says that one of the wives of Muhammad, she passed around a saying. But she said a saying and it passed around, and then God revealed it to Muhammad, and part of it was true and part of it was not. You look, even in the time of Muhammad, his oral words, they got twisted and screwed up, right? So how can we not think that it got twisted and screwed up hundreds of years later and we can't even ask him? Especially when Allah never even mentions Bukhari and Muslim.
What is hurting? What Sahih Hadith is hurting Islam? Do you have any examples?
I have tons of examples.
Like what? You are saying something gold.
I don't have the exact quote, but I can tell you there's one.
Give me one.
There's shameful hadith. I'll give you one example. So there's this one. It's in, I can't remember if it's Sahih Muslim or Sahih Bukhari, but it's in a Sahih tradition, right?
You should have authentic.
Yeah, yeah, it's Sahih, right? And there's one where basically,
We have
okay, yeah, I wish I could show.
Yeah.
I had another.
If you are here,
I wrote.
if you are guiding Muslims to not to follow the
I wrote a book on very
you should
specific.
have your homework ready.
I do have it.
You have a phone, you can Google it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to stop recording. Okay, but I can.
You can tell me.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So I'll go. It's in my book. It's in my book. Okay, I'll give you a link. It's free. My book online. I have all the documents in there. I wrote it. Okay, so go on YouTube. Okay, can you go on YouTube.com? That's the
Yeah,
you'll find the link.
I can
to my
have.
book.
I can go to the web version, but
Yeah.
YouTube.com or
Yeah, YouTube.com.
you mean you are trying to guide Muslims. But if,
I'm just trying to do my
but
duty
if
of
you are
conveying the truth.
misguiding,
No, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. I'll show you.
what are you basing? Okay, what
My
YouTube?
basis is the Quran. Okay, you go type it here. Type up eyes, IYES. No, sorry, EYES. My mistake. EYES. Space. Wide, WIDE. Space. Open, OPEN. Space hadith. ITH. Yeah.
why you are recording?
I'm recording because I put it online as well. Yeah, I do it also. I like to set an example for people to show that they shouldn't be afraid. They should speak the
You don't
truth.
have your homework.
I'm about to show you it right now. So go on my channel. So right here. Click any new video. Doesn't matter.
Well, are you saying I will see?
No. I have the link to the book is here. Here. This one. There's the book. Now I can show you the hadith. Would you let me see your phone or you want? Okay.
You're not it.
No, I'm not going.
Well, I don't have my consent to send it on the YouTube because you never asked me to send it on video while recording. I thought you're doing it for your own protection.
I'm doing it for multiple reasons as well. Okay. Sunnah and hadith. Okay, yeah, page 9. This is just like silly hadith. Okay, this is Sahih al-Bukhari 1144, book 19, hadith 25.
Okay, I will
Yeah. Where it talks about shaitan peeing in people's ears. This is nonsense. How's it going, guys? Yo, what's going on, guys?
Sahih al-Bukhari.
Sahih al-Bukhari. I need my book. I had it in the book. Okay, yeah. Sahih Bukhari, I think 1144.
Yo, that's the nicest dream I've ever in my life.
It's something about shaitan urinating.
Yeah, nothing in the comment.
Ooh, M5.
Peshab kiya, so he pees. Okay. Right, this is
Bean didn't even drive that.
people look at this, they mock and they laugh at it. It's the silliest stuff.
Can you see shaitan?
This is a story.
Can you see shaitan?
No, God says that they're hidden from us.
Yeah. So can you comprehend what it means, the shaitan urine in your ear?
Well, it's clear. There's multiple hadith which talk about shaitan peeing and hiding in your nose. This stuff is nonsense.
You cannot comprehend what it means to shaitan did something to you. How shaitan make you...
How did the hadith compilers comprehend?
Okay.
Well, obviously,
So
it's written down so we can comprehend it.
They wrote whatever they hear. They verify from multiple sources. You have knowledge of how hadith got compiled?
Yeah, I talk about it in detail, the isnad in my book, chain of narration from one to the next. And then there's this whole science behind it.
So you want to live all the chain of narration and you want to stick with Quran.
Correct. Because the Quran is complete.
How this hadith is helping Islam?
Well, it's showing a mockery of Islam.
Mockery, how?
It's mockery. It's a stupid,
Is
silly
there
thing.
anything shaitan? Is there anything shaitan?
This was
Saying shaitan is a mockery then.
This is the first.
Can you see shaitan?
This is the first one. I can show you another.
Can you see shaitan?
No, he's hidden.
That
God
is a
says
mockery for you?
no.
Because
It's
you cannot
not.
comprehend
Shaitan
shaitan.
peeing in your ear. This is a.
Well,
this is
can
nonsense.
you see shaitan? No.
No.
So then you will say shaitan is a man-made thing.
Let me show you one more. Let me show you one more.
There will be I got you, but you are the thing you cannot comprehend. You are making a mockery, saying it, blaming it as a mockery.
Okay, can I show you one more hadith? Just in my book.
Sure. Yeah, I want to see where are you coming from.
Yes, please. Okay. There's one. I'm trying to find it. It's here.
And do you know any other mosque who is following the Islam
There's few people in the world.
in the world?
Yeah, there's
Anything
few
in the
Quran
country?
alone mosques out there.
Oh, you mean Ramadi?
I don't know what. Not Ahmadiyya.
No, Ramadi.
Ramdi. What's Ramdi? I don't
The
know.
Ram, do you know?
I don't know about Ramdi.
Pervez, Ramadi.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
He's Muslim. To be by society.
But he doesn't care.
Yeah. This time I got
Where are you guys going?
so easy. I did it to full on the check. I did it. I said it's virtual.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Sahih Bukhari, 3403, book 60, hadith 77. This is a very famous one you can read right there.
Sahih Bukhari, what do you know?
This one. Hadith 3403.
3403.
Book 60, hadith 7.
3403.
I did it. Just ship it.
What's wrong with it?
See, the one with Moses is running around naked and he's chasing after the stick and the stone and he's beating it. The stone ran off with his clothes. I have it. It's cited.
It's in your book, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
not like that. Can you read Urdu?
No, Urdu.
Yeah, I'll give you. This is the. What's wrong with it?
No. This is not.
This is the number.
This is the thing. This is the thing. You know what they're doing right now? These hadiths have been exposed very, very badly, and they're starting to change it.
Okay,
They're starting to change it. Everybody knows this
Do
one.
you have comprehension of Surah Kahf?
I've read the whole
You read?
Quran.
You know the translation?
Yeah.
What is that in Surah Kahf?
Well, tell me. I don't remember it off by heart.
Well, you are preaching something and you're saying you have the
Okay,
true Islam.
I can pull out the Quran right now.
Well, do you have comprehension of Surah Kahf?
Yes, I do.
What is the subject in Surah Kahf?
Well, I'd have to pull it up. There's lots of surahs in the Quran. I
Why
can't.
you're misguiding people?
I'm not misguiding people.
You don't know Quran?
This mosque is
Are
misguiding
you Muslim?
people. I am Muslim.
You know Quran?
My living and dying is for the Quran.
Did you ever read Quran with translation?
I've read it, yes.
So what
In
is
Arabic
in Surah
and
Kahf?
translation.
What is in Surah
I'll
Kahf?
pull it out.
You tell.
How much you getting
Okay,
paid to do this?
wait,
I'm not getting paid
wait,
anything. I'm
wait.
doing it for free.
Anybody?
I'm doing it for
Do
free.
you know what is in Surah Kahf?
I'll be more specific.
How many subjects?
It's not like we'll
The
all have it memorized.
sleepers of cave.
Yeah.
You know the sleepers of cave?
Yeah, the companions of the cave.
Okay. Do you know how many stories in that? Like one cave, people were sleeping in the cave.
Oh yeah.
Another, the man with the two garden.
Let me cut.
Well,
Let me cut quickly to the
These,
point.
they are 14, 15 years old kid, huh? They know what is in
yeah,
Quran. And you are saying you know the best Quran ever.
No, I never said
And
that.
you are saying
that's a lie.
Hadith, you are
That's a
saying
lie. That's a
Hadith
lie.
is a lie.
Unless he's
You are saying
Hadith
Hadith is a lie
Hadith
and
is a
only
lie.
Quran is the
Hadith-
as Islam.
I can cut
But
straight.
you don't know the Quran
I
yet.
can cut straight to the point.
Go
where-
home, boy.
Show
Boy,
me.
go home.
Show me anywhere.
Read the Quran.
Show me
Your
anywhere.
heart will be humble, soft.
I read the Quran every
then
night.
you will understand.
Show me anywhere in the Quran where God says there'll be the second source for our
Okay.
deen, where we'll have Sahih al-Bukhari. Show me in the Quran one verse.
Oh man,
One
oh
verse.
man.
Allah
Yeah.
says the Quran is complete. You don't believe the Quran is complete.
What was
You don't believe the Quran.
What did the Zulkarnain do?
Well, he traveled.
He traveled.
Right.
What
He
he did?
went to the ends of the earth.
What he did? He built a dam on Yajuj and
Yeah,
Majuj.
Juj and Majuj. Correct.
Isn't it mockery for you?
No.
Why not?
It's in the Word of God.
Okay.
It's not nonsense
But
like Satan peeing in my ear.
Anything coming from prophet in a bookish form.
Not coming from prophet, from men.
Oh,
from
men wrote
from
from
men who
prophet.
said
They have the
Not from
chain.
prophet.
They have the chain.
the chain is meaningless.
Oh, for you it's meaningless.
It's hearsay. It's hearsay.
It's for you it's
It's
meaningless.
hearsay. It's hearsay.
For you it's meaningless.
Would you trust?
They have chain. We trust our forefathers. We trust our imams.
God says in the Quran the people who follow their forefathers blindly.
Blindly.
Do you not see that?
We don't know.
You just said I trust. You just said I trust my forefathers. You're not supposed to blindly follow our forefathers. Well, we're having a conversation in English, so it's most
Oh,
relevant.
he's doing something. Actually, he's recording.
Can a white person not be Muslim? You don't know. It's written by a white guy?
You
Are
should
you-
know enough. You should have enough knowledge.
Are you willing?
And you should know Arabic.
No,
and
are you
ask
guys-
these guys, bro.
Are you guys willing?
Don't know.
Yeah, that's a brother in the faith. He's Muslim, yeah. Sam Garrett. Well, check out his. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? That he's white? Islam is not just for brown people like you and me. It's for all. God says, I'll tell you one thing. God says in the Quran that the Quran is a message for all humanity, right? God knows not all of humanity are Arabs, right? We're not all going to speak Arabic. We're not all going to read Arabic, right? Because we're not Arabs. So if God says that if we are not able to read the Quran in our own language, then you've basically denied the mission of the Quran, which is to be a message for all peoples. It's our right to read the Quran in our own language.
Are you getting paid to do this?
Hello, yeah. This mosque does not teach you Islam.
Oh, are you getting paid to do this? Who's paying you? Are you getting paid to do
I'm
this?
getting
yeah,
paid, I'll
he's-
show you this much. Zero.
Yeah.
I'm doing it
He will
simply
not tell
because
you.
God has commissioned people to believe speak the truth.
I don't know.
I'm not. I'm gonna put it on YouTube later. I got paid nothing. Okay, I'll show you. Well, firstly, I want to say this though. What I was saying, my point, right? So right now, he was criticizing me for not having an Arabic language. Even though the Arabic is here, it's just Arabic and English. Okay, but it doesn't matter, right? God says the Quran is a message for all mankind. If we can only read it in Arabic, then how can it be a message for all mankind?
Well, I turned off your YouTube
Right. Well,
already.
they follow man-made traditions.
I turned off your YouTube already.
What do you mean?
I just cancelled it.
What are you doing before? What was that? There is mistranslations, and that's why it's helpful to go into Arabic.
You understand Arabic?
Yeah, I do. I go whenever I'm dealing with the true meaning of a word. I do go into the Arabic, but obviously your preferred language is going to be the language you're born and raised in, right? I'm born and raised in English. I'm going to prefer to read the Quran in English, and there's no problem with that because God says it's a message for all mankind. Filipinos should read it in Tagalog. Chinese should read it in Mandarin. We all should read the Quran in our language because it's a message for all humanity. And if you say that only Arabic, that's the only way to read the Quran, you've denied the full mission of the Quran, which is to be all of mankind.
But when you're standing here trying to
God
give us a
knows.
lesson, you should
God
have
knows.
like you see-
God knows in the Quran that not all mankind is Arab. They're not going to speak Arabic.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The Arabic version of the Quran is the most authentic and it's never been changed. You don't know anything.
Correct.
You don't know what's up with the translations. You don't know anything about it. You don't know if it's right. You don't know if it's wrong. But so I'm supposed to just
It's
look at
Arabic,
it.
it's Arabic and English.
I'm talking about the English. How am I supposed to know the English specific? How
I go through both.
a translation.
What is that right there? That's
How am I
Arabic.
supposed to know the English is according to what the Arabic's saying?
Well, this is the method that Brother Sam has done. What you do, so let's say you want to know the meaning of a word, okay?
notice
You're not
every
letting me finish my point. Right. Then why are you talking to me if you're not going to let me talk?
I'm just here to say what I want.
Okay, I'm not interested in having a conversation with somebody who can't be professional about it. Right? Okay, I'll talk to somebody else. This guy was listening. These guys have some respect. All right, so as I was telling you before, one thing that the Quran teaches that the earth is flat and stationary. Right? I was going through all the verses.
Can you get your YouTube channel?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody, and you can send it to your friends or whatever. Yeah.
Do you live here?
No.
So do you go to a bunch of mosques?
Yeah, I go to mosques, I go to churches. Churches, I tell them to stop preaching idolatry, that Jesus is God and the Son of God. This is evil. The biggest sin in the Quran is to associate a partner with God. When they say that Jesus is God, that's the biggest sin. So what God tells us in the Quran is that we are not supposed to be afraid. We're to boldly speak the truth against the world and their lies. So these churches are also preaching lies. I'm out against them as well. This is my channel. I'll sub to it for you. You can go, there's a video specifically where I deal with the topic of hadith, and I have 2 free books available, one on the flat earth, one on the hadith.
Are you Sunni or Shia? Or
I have nothing to do with any Sunni or Shia. I'm just Muslim.
Alright, so what?
If you read, I'm a Quran alone Muslim. I'm a Quran alone Muslim.
You're a Quranist.
Yeah, well, I'm a Quran alone Muslim. I believe the word of God is complete and clear, and it doesn't need anything else. So I'll tell you one thing,
So
right?
even hadiths are like.
Nothing to do with
So the
Islam.
Prophet's words are like.
Not the
trash.
Prophet's word. These are
That's
words
what
of men.
hadiths are.
These are the words of men. These are words of
So you
men.
don't believe
I have
the
a
Prophet?
question.
No. Let me make it clear. I believe in the Prophet. I believe in the messengers. I accept the messengers. That's why I believe in the Quran. What I don't believe is what people said about the Prophet. Because what we have with the hadith, it's a chain of narration. It wasn't like Muhammad wrote this stuff down in his lifetime. It was something Muhammad may or may not have said, then it was passed down from one person to the next, generation after generation, then it was written down. I'm just saying Muhammad, I have no way to prove if he said these things. So I can't prove it. That's all I'm saying.
Translation is the same thing.
The only thing we can say for certainty that Muhammad endorsed was the Quran. That was completed in his lifetime because hadith stuff came afterwards. Even if you read the Quran, God says in the Quran, in what hadith after this will you follow? You're not supposed to follow any other hadith in the Quran. God says the Quran is complete, it is clear, he didn't leave out any details from it. So when Muslims, people call themselves Muslim, they come to me and they say, oh Walid, my name is Walid. Oh Walid, how do you pray? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do Umrah? How do you do Hajj? You're basically saying, is the Quran incomplete now?
The Quran doesn't give the specifications for prayer.
God says that he didn't leave out a single detail in that book.
Can you show me how it shows you how to pray?
It doesn't.
Like exactly how.
Well, no, there are many prayers in the Quran. There's no one set standard. So long as you worship God alone,
So you're
you
saying
come
I
in
can play
purity.
Dhuhr differently and then Asr differently?
No. You have a false assumption. There's not one. The ritual that's described that you guys do in this mosque, it's not in the Quran. There are many prayers in the Quran. For example, there's a prayer that Moses made. Moses, when he was about to confront Fir'aun, he said, "Oh God, please untie the twist of my tongue." Right? That was one prayer. Then there was another prayer, Ibrahim, when he asked God, "Oh God, give me a good son out of you." Prayer is just basically you worship God alone and you ask Him whatever you're needing. You need help, guidance, forgiveness, mercy, whatever it is. It's not this set ritual. This ritual is nowhere in the Quran. Prayer is just opening the heart to God and asking for whatever you need and help.
So you don't go to the masjid and pray?
I don't go to the masjid because they don't follow the Quran.
So how do you pray then?
Well, no. Prayer is a very personal thing and it's depending on the situation. So let's say if I step into a car and I'm driving, right? At that moment, I'm going to pray to God, please, Lord, protect me while I'm on the road. Don't let me get in an accident, right? Right now, I was about to preach to all these people. I pray to God, please, my Lord, protect me. Don't allow me to be hurt. Allow me to speak clearly to people. Prayer is based on the context.
No, we're talking about like
remember God morning and evening.
The 5 daily prayers.
Not in the Quran.
So you don't pray the 5 prayers?
I don't do the 5 ritual prayers.
The 5 prayers?
No.
That's why.
I don't do it because it's not in the Quran and the Quran is complete.
Okay, but
if you don't
you're
pray
trusting,
all 5 prayers, you're not actually.
No. Show me in the Quran where it says if you don't pray your 5 daily ritual prayers that you're not a Muslim. Show me in the Quran where it says that. It doesn't say
Where
anything.
does it say that you don't have to pray 5 daily ritual prayers?
It doesn't mention any number.
So you
on prayers.
deny the Prophet saying it?
I accept the Prophet. I did not.
No. I know you accept the Prophet. Do you deny that the Prophet described and told us to pray 5 times a day?
Yeah, I deny that. These are the words of men that have been ascribed to the Prophet. They've been pinned on the Prophet. Yeah.
Didn't it go down to 5 or was that like a high number? I'm not considering.
That's shirk, my friend. That's shirk.
That's not shirk, bro. That went down from 50 to 5.
If you actually believe God in the original intention, He put down 50 prayers, and then Muhammad argued with God. Like basically, he was like, God, no, people, they're not going to be able to do this.
You know what
then
this
it's 45. Then it's 40.
You know what this hadith is called? You know what the hadith is called? It's called the hadith Qudsi. You know what that means? It was a hadith that came down from God, basically. That's a hadith Qudsi. That means you're saying a hadith from God. There's many hadith Qudsis.
God says in the Quran that the messengers, they only did what they're commanded. God also says in the Quran that we hear and we obey. That's what a Muslim is. What God says, we obey. This whole idea that Muhammad disputed with God on the number of prayers, this is idolatry, man. The prophets don't dispute with God on anything. When God says something, we shut our mouth and we do it.
I'm to be completely honest, all of us here are like laymen, we don't know anything, so if there was an actual scholar, you wouldn't like...
I'd love to have a debate with a scholar.
I'd love to, but it wouldn't go well for you. It'd be like one-sided.
No, it wouldn't.
Very one-sided.
No, when I can show
You're
all...
holding a translation, you don't know if it's right or wrong, and you're not trusting the hadith. You're saying the translation...
Because the hadith has nothing to do with the Quran, nothing to do with Islam.
How do you know the translation that he gave is correct?
In what hadith after this will you believe? That's what God says in the Quran.
You think the earth is flat?
Yes, I do.
You know, there's many interpretations.
So if I keep walking, am I gonna like fall off?
So we're not. No. Space doesn't exist. There's a covering over the earth by God.
So I'll get like...
God made a cover. Okay, I'll show you.
Yeah, some like anime stuff.
That's not anime. That's the Quran. That's what God. I'll show you all
Covering.
the verses.
So if you keep walking straight...
You can check out my books. They're all available.
That says the earth is flat and there's a cover over it.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Is that a picture of the earth?
It's not a picture. It's just an idea. Somebody drew. This is a general idea of the earth according to what the Bible and Quran describe.
So then what's the?
Yeah, I'll show you. Okay.
I think you're reading into the translations wrong.
Yeah, it's
I can show
it's
you.
metaphorical.
Use
It's not actual.
Yeah,
No. We're supposed to follow the Quran.
No, that's not worse,
You have
man.
the flat earth on the bottom, right? The earth that floats upon the great deep of water,
Where's the core?
right? There's no core. That's just stories.
So wait,
Yeah, how's the-
where
what
do
do
we
you
live? Where do
Yo,
we
we're
live?
here on Earth. Okay, that's the land.
And then
right?
what's this on
So the Earth is upon a great deep of water, and then above that there's a dome.
So then why don't
There's a
planes
heart
hit
in
the
sky.
dome?
What? Well, you don't know how massive the Earth is, right? I'll use another example.
What about like spaceships? They've been
If I get a telescope,
NASA is from Shaitan. They don't tell you the
if
truth.
I get a telescope and I look into the stars and I see like Saturn, is that outside of the globe or like what is it?
No.
It's fake. Is it like an image placed by the government?
According, why are you misrepresenting? I'm going to explain
Because-
to you what it is. I know the stars. I
Is
know
gold
the stars.
halal?
I can point out most of the stars in the sky. I've studied all this stuff. I had to for my book. Not right now when it's nighttime. Obviously. Okay, what was that?
Is gold
I
halal?
can point out.
Is gold
Gold.
allowed?
God never said it's haram. It's halal gold.
So you're wearing gold?
Well, it's gold plated.
Did God talk to the humans? Did God talk to us? He talked through Prophet Muhammad. He told us, Prophet
Well,
Muhammad
yeah.
told us gold and silk is not allowed.
These are what. No, if you
Doesn't
read,
believe
God,
that.
God says in the Quran that it's a crime. It's a crime to make haram what God has not made haram.
But he
So
did
for
make it
example,
haram.
If I no, what God did not make haram.
But he did make it
so
haram.
like if I were to say, hey, black hoodies are haram. There's nothing in the Quran, nothing God said about it being haram. That would be a crime if I said that, right? It's a crime to make haram what God has not made haram.
But he did make gold haram.
No, nothing to do with that. What yeah. So what I was saying, somebody asked me a question about space.
Yeah, like if you look in a telescope and you see Saturn.
Okay, yeah. So
asking a
basically,
question. What's the question?
according to all the ancient astronomers, all the ancient peoples, they believe the Earth was flat. The Bible teaches it as well.
Can you give some names?
There's two tall. Well, no, I'll show you the Bible. The Jewish astronomers.
We
they
don't believe in the Bible.
I'm just giving you an example.
Jewish astronomers aren't Christian.
Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. So regarding Saturn, so everybody knew that there's two types of stars in the sky. Okay. There's fixed stars and there's wandering stars. So the fixed stars, they basically they move and they do their circle every night. They do their circle. God even says in the Quran by the returning star. He swears by the so they do their circle. That's the fixed stars. Then there's wandering stars like Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, which you can see. They kind of have their own weird movement. That's all they are. They're a type of star in the sky, but they have their own movement that God made.
He doesn't.
That's it. So there's two types of stars. That have fixed movement and ones that have awkward movement.
There's no point in that.
So even if you look at the word planet, they say Venus is a planet.
Do you read
Jupiter is a
Quran?
planet. What was that?
Do you read the Quran?
Every day, my friend.
Do you pray?
Obviously, I pray.
Have you read the translation of the Quran?
Let me tell. I've read both the Arabic and the translation. Okay, but let me talk about the stars. So, you know, the word planet. They say, oh, Venus is a planet. Saturn is a planet. The word planet comes from the Greek word planetai. Planetai means to wander. Everybody knew that they were just they're interesting looking stars that wander. That's all they are. So all the stars are their lights in the sky. Nobody's ever been there. Space is not real. I'll show you something. Space is not real. NASA's a fraud.
How is space not real?
It's a fraud. God never mentioned space in the Quran.
But just because you didn't mention something doesn't mean it didn't exist. Exactly. You didn't mention your phone number.
God says in the Quran that man cannot escape in the heavens or in the earth. We can't escape here. We can't get out of the earth. The earth is a container for the living and dead. All we know is the earth.
Yo,
we
is that
can't escape out of it.
But we don't live in the space.
Yo, that's
Is that a red eye?
It's a Hellcat.
That's a wannabe. That's a wannabe, man.
It's a red eye.
This is to show you how honest these space stations are. Total jokes from Shaitan.
okay. Hold up. So
Feels
look.
weird when
Saying
I
everything that you believe in was made by Shaitan.
No, I'm saying I can prove to you that these space stations are liars. You can read my books.
Hey, look.
How do we know you're not lying?
Well, I'll show you the Quran verses,
Yeah, but
and then
we
you can
if
decide.
we had someone who actually had knowledge, they could prove it wrong.
We don't have knowledge. We're just Islamic studies students.
We're 14-year-old students that go to this school. We're just learning.
No.
Wait, you said hadith don't mean anything.
Corona's fake, right?
It's a hoax. It's all,
My grandpa died.
they all predicted this stuff. They labeled all these deaths as corona. They label these deaths as corona. Regular deaths. Yeah, of course they're gonna tell you you're positive.
No, I don't know.
They just name every flu and cold corona. They do the same thing to my relatives back in Pakistan. In Pakistan, one of my family friends, they died of a ruptured spleen. Their spleen ruptured, and then they labeled.
Yo, guys, everyone.
The West is corrupt.
Yo, everyone.
And they labeled it as a death by corona.
So how did it come to say let's go?
Number one proof the earth is flat is water is flat. There's no curve in water. You look at water in a cup, it's flat. You look at water in a tub, it's flat.
No, in biology we did it has a curve on it. Water has a curve on it.
God says in the Quran, what was that? Okay, so what I believe in, I'll tell you the thing. So what I believe in is I follow the Quran alone.
Brainwashing.
I'm not brainwashing anybody.
You're brainwashing everyone, bro.
I follow the Quran alone.
You don't pray 5 times a day, bro.
And I'm teaching, among many other things, the true nature.
We could take it. Hadith
has nothing to do with it. The Quran refutes the Hadith. The very idea of following the Hadith is against the Quran. Because in the Quran, God says, even ask us regarding the Quran, what Hadith after this will you believe in? The only Hadith, narration, story, account we are believing is the Quran. Nothing to do with Shia. Yeah. So God says in the Quran, in what Hadith after this will you believe in? And the Sunnis and the Shias, they all say, hey, we have another Hadith. Where was it? We have this other Hadith. Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and let's find that photo.
Why do you think it has he doesn't believe it?
Because it contradicts the Quran. The Quran claims to be superior. If you say that we need the Hadith to explain all this stuff and all these extra rules, you basically believe the Quran is incomplete, which is against what God says.
Right there.
Please don't touch the camera.
So you
Okay,
only
look,
believe
so
in
in the
Allah
Quran
and
it says,
the
you know what it
Quran.
says
You
in
don't
the
believe in
Quran,
anything else.
What was that?
You only believe in the Quran and Allah. You don't believe in anything else.
Yeah, I only believe the Quran.
And you don't pray 5 times a day, but you believe in Allah.
Yeah, of course, I believe in Allah.
Like, you know, you're just
But you don't pray
quoting
5 times
specific
a day.
ayahs from the Quran and just leaving other ones. I don't know.
What are you bringing? What ayah?
There's many ayahs.
So you believe in Allah, but you don't
Okay,
pray
yeah,
5
regarding the
times a
matter.
day.
Okay, Surah Al-Hashr.
No, because it doesn't mention that in the Quran.
It clearly does.
Search it up.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay, you're
Hafiz.
It does. Trust me, it does.
It doesn't. It
It does.
doesn't.
It's over there.
I don't believe Jesus is God, nor do I believe he's the Son of God.
Sheikh. Hey.
Yeah, and I believe in God. I'm not an atheist. And I accept,
Come, let's go together. Come.
I'm not agnostic. I know God.
Is that your book?
There we go.
Is that your book?
Okay. So this is, you can all type this up online. Yeah, what do you say? How old are you? I'm 22. How old are you? 14? 15, okay. Yeah, so I'll tell you. You can all type this up. It's in the official Apollo archives. Apollo mission, Moon mission, it's a joke. You can AS11 40 59 22. Look, apparently they're gonna tell you this is a real photo of the thing that took you to the moon. Look at that. It's a piece of junk. It's garbage.
You can make that on Google Docs.
My friend, they tell you this took you to the moon. You can look it up online. This is from the Apollo archives. They say this paper mache, golden shower rods, and
Every picture of Earth you have, it shows the Earth is round.
pass it around. These are CGI.
Hey, look, wait, can you come here and read these ayahs? Yo, excuse me.
The very people who designed it, I have it in my book. The quote recorded. Yeah.
What's your book's name?
Hey.
It's called, well, the one on Flat Earth is called the Flat Earth Manifesto.
Is there a bunch
Yo, excuse me. Yo, chill.
Oh my dude.
Okay, look.
I'm out I'm gonna be out there tonight, Lord willing. Friday night, Saturday night.
No, I can't. I'm not getting in there. Just say it out loud.
Not an Arabic document.
Chill.
Nobody's listening. So I'll say Lord willing. But yeah.
Okay, look.
Same thing, right? So
can you
I'm out on Stephen Avenue every Friday.
I want to say something, bro.
I'm out every Friday, every Saturday. I'm preaching. I talk about flat earth to people. There are so many people who know that they've been lied to about the shape of the earth. So many people. But sadly, it's not delusional. I can show you from the Quran. But yeah, what were you saying?
Okay, look, can just come, because there's so many ayahs, I can't read them all. My voice is gonna get tired. Yeah?
Okay.
So, look. Nah, I don't want to. Okay, look. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Messenger. And whatsoever the Messenger gives you, take it and whatsoever he forbids you, abstain from
Right,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever the messenger says, it's not in the Quran. So where do you find it?
Okay, I'll show.
No.
We'll deal with that verse right now.
Where does he find it? Where does he find it?
What verse is that? What verse is that?
Where does he find it? Where does he find it? Just answer the question, man.
I'm going to pull
Where
up
does
the
he
verse.
find it?
I'm gonna make a fool out of you right now. I'm gonna make a fool out of you and show you how badly out of context that is. Okay, tell me what.
Yo, there's many ayahs here. Are they all out of context? You're using one ayah, bro. You're using one ayah. You're using one ayah, bro. You're using one ayah.
Yo, up Sigma. Why is that book so thick?
Because it has
That's a Quran?
What was it? 59?
Yeah, what ayah the title?
2663, I think.
What do you have?
Yeah, 2663.
It's not doing anything.
Or no, sorry, 2463.
2463.
What was the one where we were looking at? Take what the messenger gives you, leave what he doesn't.
2463.
2463.
No, I want to see.
Give me the phone.
Everyone shut up. You can explain.
Wait, is it going to be good?
God.
Why is it not A? For Allah.
Well, I'm an English speaker.
Wait. Let him answer the
Allah.
question. So do you pray in English? Wait, shut up. Let him ask the question.
Well, I pray in English and
No, that one. Like the.
He doesn't do the 5 prayers, bro. He doesn't pray.
What was it again? 25 what?
Yo, what ayah number was it?
2463.
Yo, does he think he's like the main character, bro? Yo, who else? Why don't you have a platform? Why does no one else support you?
I have people.
You have people with you?
My brother in the faith, he's just getting off work. He'll be here very shortly.
Your brother?
Brother in the faith, not blood brother.
Okay.
Damn, 5K mounted, bro.
Okay, 2463. Alright, 2463, I don't know what this shows. In the name of God, the Almighty.
We made 5 prayers.
No, because it doesn't mention that in the Quran. God says in the Quran that we're supposed to remember Him on our backs and when we're sitting and when we're standing. We are to remember God all the time. That's my goal in life. I want to remember God. Of course. Why would I be here holding the Quran? That's shirk. The Quran, okay, take care. Peace, guys. So if you read the Quran, God says that when prophets came, the only thing they said was, we hear, they said, we hear and we obey. It's not for any messenger to dispute with God after God made the command clear. So this whole idea that God originally made 50 prayers and then Muhammad and the prophets, they disputed with God, this is totally against the Quran. In the Quran, God says whatever that Muhammad is commanded to say, I am simply commanded to do whatever my Lord says. So this whole idea that he disputed and argued with God, this is shirk. Who are we, and even the prophets, to dispute with God? Nobody can dispute with him. If God, let's just say as an example, put down 50 prayers, the prophets just shut up and do it. This is a false hadith. Right? Then you're basically implying that Muhammad knew better than God. God originally put 50, then Muhammad had to explain to God and say, oh, it's too burdensome, people are not going to be able to do it, it's too high of a number, and God had to teach Muhammad, or Muhammad had to teach God. How can you believe that? Right, but that's supposed to be a Sahih hadith right there. It's supposed to be authentic. But you see the shirk in there. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big problem. So yeah, these are the main things. My main concerns is that they follow the hadith, they clearly abandon the Quran, and they also don't teach the true nature of the earth. When God says the earth is flat and stationary. In the Quran, God says He spread out the earth. He spread it out like a carpet, like a bed. There's no globular carpet. A carpet and bed are flat. God says He made the sky a structure, a roof. On the last day, on Yom al-Qiyamah, the sky will break open, it will crack open. It's not outer space. There's a covering over the earth. This is all in the Quran. And again, I can give either one of you a link to my channel. You can read my book. It's available for free. I go through all the verses. I have a free presentation. Okay. But either way, the message has been conveyed.
What did you say?
The message
I think you
has been
should
conveyed.
preach it saying I believe instead of we're wrong.
What was that?
I think you should preach it saying I believe that this. Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're saying it. So many people know that they're lied to, and you're saying like, what else did you say? Like you're saying, you're speaking as if it's facts. But there's a bunch of religions, so I think you should speak saying, I believe that this.
Well, God tells us in the Quran to speak the truth and fear not the reproach of a critic. So when something is a lie, I will call it out as a lie boldly, because God has commissioned that for people. We're not to be afraid. If something's a lie, it's a lie. What God even says in the Quran, what after the truth is there but falsehood? After the truth, there's nothing but lies. And we are to call it out boldly.
Okay, I'm saying people are not going to believe you if you're saying it aggressively. No one's going to be open about it.
Well, I'm not aggressive. I come very calmly. But what happens is most people, they cut me. You're talking to me calmly, so I'm calm. But most people, they cut me off. They shut me down. They lie about me. They insult me. Right? I get mobbed. I get mobbed.
Those are the people that you need to stay calm with instead of screaming.
Right? I try my best. I pray to God for guidance and protection and patience. But I will say this, that God has made it clear that we are to stand up and speak the truth and not fear anyone. Not fear anyone. Right? So that's what I do. Yeah. All right. Peace be upon you.
Yes, sir. Sir, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, certainly.
Where do you get this information from?
Well, it's all in the Quran. I have it all demonstrated from the Quran that hadith has nothing to do with Islam, that the earth is not a globe. All these things which have cost me a lot to say these things in public, they're all Quranic. And either I can lie to myself and pretend like the Quran talks about this hadith, or I can follow the truth. I can't lie to myself about this. I've read the Quran very carefully. There's no hadith there. This religion that's taught in Sunniism, Shiism, nothing to do with the Quran. It's shirk. And I even taught her right now, one thing they teach is shirk, that Muhammad disputed with God on the number of prayers. Prophets do not dispute with God. When God says something, they shut up and follow it. Yeah.
So what do you like when you see in the Quran how it's mentioned in like prophets?
Yeah.
Does that mean like nothing to you?
No, it means a lot of things. So when God says in the Quran, obey the messenger, follow the example of the messenger, the example of the messengers, they're all in the Quran. God tells us. He tells us of Jesus, he tells us of Moses, he gives us their story. God even says, we narrate to you their report good. We narrate to you their report aright. So follow the example of the messenger. That's the Quran. It says it about multiple messengers. It's not about this hadith thing.
Okay, but like with the prayer thing, I'm pretty sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shortened it from 50 prayers to 5 prayers to make it easier for us.
Do you believe that Muhammad disputed with God? That God originally made 50, and then Muhammad had to explain to God that this would be too hard for people, and then he reduced it down to 5. You really think that Muhammad taught God? That's what it says. It says that it was originally 50, then Muhammad had to tell him that it would be too difficult, then God, he reduced it down to 5. He's like, okay, fine, I'll make it 5. When in the Quran it says messengers, they just say we hear and we obey. Whatever God says, they shut up and follow. I'm only commanded to communicate the message, not dispute with God. We have the same thing in the Bible as well, this kind of falsehood, where Moses, he asks God, he tells God to repent. Where God was about to destroy the children of Israel in the Bible, and then Moses says to him, oh, repent of this evil, and God repents. The hadith followers, they've done the same thing. They've said that Muhammad taught something to God that God never knew. God would have known. If 50 prayers was too much for us, he would have said it from the beginning. He would have known that.
Wait, so if it doesn't make sense to pray 5 times,
I do pray. Well, God doesn't give us a number about how much to pray in the Quran. Really, the goal in life is to remember God constantly, every day, every waking moment. When I step in the car and I'm about to go on a drive, I say, God, please protect me while I'm on the road. Keep me safe. Don't let me get in an accident. When I'm about to do some public preaching, or, I'd say, God, protect me. Keep me safe. We are supposed to pray and remember God all our life. It's not something we switch on and off for Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. It's all our life. Every waking moment we should be remembering the Most High. When we see the sun, we should give him thanks. Thank you, God, for the sun, for giving this beautiful, life-giving sun. Every moment we need to remember God. That's what it's about, not switching on and off. I've seen so many people. I grew up in a Pakistani home. It's very common. They do their 5 daily prayers. They'll recite it in Arabic, but then the rest of their life they live like shaitans. They charge people interest. They're sexually immoral. They're scammers. It's not about this on and off thing. It's about a consistent remembrance of God throughout your life. Well, that's fine. That's no problem. All I'm saying is that there's many prayers in the Quran, not just this one set thing where you do this ritual. There's a prayer that Moses made in the Quran where God, before he confronted Pharaoh, he said, God, please untie the twist from my tongue. Oh God, please strengthen me with my brother Harun. There's also another verse in the Quran where Abraham, he's saying, God, please give me a good child, a righteous one. Right? There's all kinds of prayers in the Quran. Right? It's not just this one set thing. We are to remember God in everything. So that's what we're supposed to do. That's my goal. God even says in the Quran, when you forget Him, remember. And that's what it's about. So that's Deen Allah. It's not about hopping in and out of prayers. It's about a consistent remembering of your Lord every day and night. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free. Yeah. So I just ask you, you guys think long and hard, and don't be afraid to read the Quran in your own language. Whether it's Arabic, whether it's English, whether it's Urdu, whatever it is, read it in your language, and don't be intimidated by it either. Ask God for guidance. Say, God, I'm going to read your word right now. Please guide me and help me. Show me the truth that's in your word. Keep the shaitan far away from me. Seek refuge in God from shaitan, and then read it, and God will explain it to you. The Quran is not this very complicated thing that needs all these scholars to explain. It's very, very simple and clear. It's only if people were able to read it in their own language, and people were not intimidated by it. You see, most people who call themselves Muslim, they hardly even read the Quran in their own language. Most of them, they'll recite it in Arabic, or they'll put it on a nice stand. When they drop it, they'll kiss it. They'll do everything but try to understand the book, which is what God made it for. Right? I rarely ever meet someone who calls themselves a Muslim and they read the Quran in their language. They always recite it in Arabic. I was taught that. I don't speak Arabic, but I was taught to recite it in Arabic in my Pakistani home. I didn't truly believe the Quran until I read it in English, and I'm like, wow, this is the word of God. So that's what I recommend. Don't worry about imams and muftis and scholars. Read the Quran. It's our right to read it in our language. God says it's a message for all of mankind, all of humanity. God knows not all of mankind is Arab. We're not all going to speak Arabic. We're not going to read Arabic. So we ought to. It's our birthright to read the words of Allah in our own language. So that's what I recommend you. Yeah. No problem. Peace be upon you. Peace and blessings in the name of the Most High, viewer. My name is Walid Naeem, and I am a zealous submitter to the one true God, the creator of all mankind. Do you notice something wrong with the world? Something strange? Despite us having a church, synagogue, and mosque in every neighborhood, how has this entire Western civilization fallen into abject atheism, nihilism, and savagery? Why does life just seem so dull, so meaningless, and so devoid of anything real in the Occidental world? Despite the ubiquitous presence of these religious institutions, why are our so-called Muslim sons in large numbers drinking, smoking, partying, and chasing after women, with no seeming desire to do anything more with their life other than satisfy their base pleasures, when God has commanded them to be clean, righteous, and responsible leaders of their community? And why are our hijabi so-called Muslim daughters walking around with tight jeans that reveal their figure, with TikTok accounts posting semi-provocative, self-absorbed videos of themselves online for the world to see, when God has commanded them to lengthen their garments and be modest in their mannerisms? What has happened here? These young men and women are supposed to be making themselves right before God, while raising the next generation of ardent defenders of the holy faith. But it seems that Islam features no more in their lives other than a scarf on their head, a Friday fidgeting around in the mosque when their parents forced them to go against their will, or a decorative hanger in their car. At this rate, if God allows us to continue going down the road it is, then Islam and the Quran will become pretty much non-existent in the lives of most of our descendants, if it wasn't already non-existent now. If we do not take a stand soon, in a few generations, our children's children will likely be indistinguishable from the secular West. Is that the kind of world we want to live in? Our kids to live in? A world practically devoid of the remembrance of the one God and all things sane? I obviously can't speak for you, but for my own self, I can personally say, count me out of it. I'm not going to sit here and just watch my brothers and sisters, those who claim to believe in God alone, believe in Judgment Day, His prophets and angels, and all the other aspects of this holy creed, get duped into going to hell. I'm not going to let this happen without at least something of an effort on my end to reroute this dark trajectory. So, again, how in the world do we end up here? There is a mosque in practically every neighborhood in the West, and no shortage of donations that get dropped in their boxes.
They have had lots of funding, lots of time, and unquestioning support from their respective congregations, yet somehow have been run over by the secular atheist. All of their so-called Muslim children go to the atheist, secular public schools for most of their week to be taught beliefs that are completely incompatible with the Quran. And we wonder why they have ended up the way they are. If these houses, and by these houses I mean the mosques, were truly of God, that were doing everything right, then why would our Lord let them get so decisively trampled upon by their enemies? Why do the wicked have all of the reins of power here? Clearly, something is not adding up. Well, it is my thesis here today that the vast, vast majority of mosques that exist in this world today have lost their way and follow a religion which is completely foreign to the Quran. This is why they have failed so miserably in the West, and it seems that God has forgotten them. In truth, the real reason behind their shortcoming is that they, and many of us, have forgotten God himself, which is why he has left us here collecting our bitter receipts. So, what are my exact criticisms of the mosques today? As a Muslim and a man committed to the truth above all else, what are my personal gripes with their institution, which claims to be for God? The first glaring problem I can think of is that the majority of people who call themselves Muslim have allied themselves with a body of literature that is foreign to the Word of God, treating it equal to, and in fact above, the Quran itself. Of course, I am talking about the Hadith. Listen, the facts are this. There is no justification within the Quran which tells us to follow this hadith stuff, which came hundreds of years after the Prophet Muhammad died, and therefore he could have had no ability to oversee what people have said about him and determine if it is true or false. It is now becoming crystal clear, especially in the last 10 to 20 years, that many things that have been ascribed to him in their most quote-unquote authoritative texts, which they call their Sahih Hadiths, are forgeries that directly contradict God's final revelation. To take these words of men, i.e. the Hadith, and hold them to be equally authoritative to the words of God would be breaking the first and most important commandment, which is to worship God alone, making no equals with him. To say that these supposed words of Muhammad, which are not even Muhammad's own words, but simply very doubtful rumors about what people who existed hundreds of years after him say he said, that have been decided upon by the scholars as authoritative holds equal, or in fact any weight in our faith comparable to the verbatim words of God himself, the Holy Quran, is idolatry. You are exalting man's words to the status of divinity, which should only be given to God's words. Nothing comes even close to the Quran, because God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, is its author. This includes the Hadith too, which pales in comparison and is superfluous to the glorious Quran. If you are interested in seeing a full refutation of the Hadith, you may watch my video titled, A Defense of Prophet Muhammad, David Wood and Hadith Exposed, which is linked below. In it, along with refuting and putting in his place the worst opponent of Islam on the internet, Mr. David Wood, I also expose how the Hadith is completely contradictory to the Quran and the source of much of the Muslim world's problems. It is a 2-hour-long documentary where I seek to demonstrate the true character of Muhammad in the Quran, defending his history and personality with primary source quotations. I clear the last prophet of God's name from the people who have tarnished his reputation the most, which are certain types of Christians, and, sad to say, Hadith-following Muslims, which have said many terrible things about him. No, Muhammad was not a money-hungry, tyrannical warlord who married a 6-year-old girl. He was a shy, humble, meek man who married adult women, had compassion for even his worst enemies, and oftentimes had a tough time even standing up for himself out of fear of hurting other people's feelings. This is all demonstrated in detail in my video. Once again, the link for that will be in the description under the tab, The True Character of Muhammad in the Quran. So that is the first problem with the mosques, the reason for which I feel they have been forsaken by God, their adoption of an apostate literature which contradicts their foundational scripture. The second point of contention I have with many of the mosques is their seeming unwillingness to say anything controversial which may make them face persecution from their government. The fact that 9/11 was not only an inside job, but the fact that no planes hit the Twin Towers on that day, and the whole charade was a hoax designed by the governments of the world to forever frame the Muslim people as terrorists and justify invasions in our countries, should be taught to every man, woman, and child. This great fraud of the September attacks has left such a lasting, enduring reputation on every brown person and Muslim in general that it should be discussed in every mosque. Our people are not responsible for that crime, but it was the governments of the world who carried out that plot and framed us for it. 9/11 is just only one small example, though. There are many, many other quote-unquote conspiracy theories, which are really just conspiracy facts, avoided by the mosques due to their controversy, like the fact that the monetary system in the West is an ungodly scam based on usury, the fact that the so-called healthcare system is a predatory empire which doesn't try to cure anybody, but instead makes money off of human suffering, the fact that sodomite propaganda is being promoted to the masses, including our children, and the fact that the thing which I will call the C-19er, to avoid censorship, was a hoax perpetrated by the powers that be to greatly expand their police state, censorship incentives, and surveillance systems worldwide in order to create their New World Order, and much more. These governments that have occupied our lands are de facto terrorist regimes, and the mosques seem to say nothing of it. They appear to be more concerned with not being labeled extremists while they live their comfortable, well-funded lives, avoiding topics that are hard to deal with due to the abject persecution they bring. That is my second problem with them. They're at the very least lack of awareness, or if not, perhaps lack of willingness to address the real geopolitical situation going on in the world. And lastly, my third trouble with the mainstream mosques, which can also be put into the category of conspiracy facts, is their complete ignorance on the true nature of the earth. It may sound as a shock to you, my viewer, that the Quran, the Bible, and in fact all of the ancient scriptures teach the earth is flat and stationary. This is the only model of the world which is compatible with those texts and also scientifically provable. This flat earth conspiracy, which should really be called the globe earth conspiracy, is one of the biggest lies of the modern world, we are told, and goes in line with what I said earlier about the endemic corruption of the governments of the world. Everything you have been told about where you live is a fabrication, and the space agencies are a shameless hoax. For a fully detailed presentation on the subject of flat earth, where I demonstrate the science, the history, the philosophy, the verses in the Bible and Quran proving it, and much more, you can read my book titled The Flat Earth Manifesto, which is linked in the description. This work runs to nearly 1,200 pages and is practically a textbook on not only the topic of flat earth, but the subject of physics proper, and I expose the biggest fraudulent religion of the West, which is science worship, otherwise known as scientism. As with all of my work, it too is available for free. No, you do not live on a pathetic speck of dust spinning around in the middle of nowhere in space. You live in a brilliant, intelligently designed terrarium created by God and are at the center of the universe. Again, to learn more, the link to the Flat Earth Manifesto will be in the description. Those right there are my 3 biggest scores against the mosques of today. There are more points I could bring up, but these are the major ones. These are the controversies which have estranged me from the rest of the so-called Muslim world. Believe me when I say that I would love to join them, and that it hurts me so deeply that I have to pit myself up against the very institution I was born and raised in, the mosques I attended from childhood, whose carpets upon which I walked, stood, prayed, and listened to the preaching in my earliest years. But that is the price to pay for the truth. My commitment to God and what is right is more important than my emotional attachments to a place that was once dear to my heart. Simply put, this is why I think God has forsaken us. This is why I think that the mosques have been steamrolled by the secular atheist. It is because most of us have abandoned the word of God, neglected preaching the truth, and instead chosen comfort over courageous action. That is my thesis to why this great falling away in the West has taken place. If this sounds shocking to you, if it sounds so unbelievable that the majority of the so-called Muslim world could be deceived so badly, then I simply have these verses in the Quran to show you. In the name of God, the Almighty and the Merciful. Chapter 6, verse 116. And if thou obey most of those upon the earth, they will lead thee astray from the path of God. They follow only assumption, and they are only guessing. Chapter 25, verse 30. And the messenger will say, O my Lord, my people took this Quran as a thing abandoned. God has really predicted this a millennia ago. He knew that the people who follow what is really right are few and far between, that the majority of men and women are led astray, and the people who claim to love Muhammad the most, i.e. mainstream Muslims, would abandon the glorious Quran. God has revealed to us 1,000 years ago that this all would be the case. It is my mission, therefore, by the will of God, to band together with like-minded believers who have understood the truth and work together to build a new institution from the ground up, founded upon prudent fear. We need to start fresh, start anew. We need to build a new mosque where people can hear the unfiltered preaching from the Quran alone, where men and women can get married, where children can play and be educated in the truth, and where the name of the Most High God, without any associate partners, can be remembered. We need a group of highly dedicated men who will raise and defend this institution with their own hands if need be, and go out into the world warning people of the punishment of God, bearing witness to the truth of His oneness. That is my mission, my viewer. If you found that this mission of mine has touched your heart and is something you want to get involved with, then feel free to contact me in the email below. I am located in Ontario, Canada, and I'm looking forward to form a community with like-minded believers who want to contribute to this great cause. I am neither a nationalist nor racially biased. If you follow the Quran alone and believe in the truth, then as far as I'm concerned, you are my brother in the faith. I prefer you over someone of my own kindred who denies God and commits corruption in the earth. My loyalties are primarily ideological, not racial. Remember, my viewer, that this life is short. Everything we do and don't do is recorded by God and will either bear witness for us or against us on the day of judgment. Hell is eternal, and I do not know about you, but as for me, I want to meet my Creator in the best state possible. I want to spend my life struggling to build up my people, the true Muslims, so that God may be pleased with me on that day. If you are interested in that, then feel free to join me. If not, then find something else good to do which will prepare you for your appointment with the Most High. That is where we are all going anyway. With that being said, I say peace and God bless to all of you good people. Take care, everyone.